All right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around in circles, flatten my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up.
To play 60!
If your school doesn't have a program, be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phalen, a weekly program on LSN Television, Channel 9, and also with two of our radio affiliates here in Fairfield County and beyond. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, and especially the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy that put this program together. And special guest, very special guest this week is, good to see you, is Loretta Phalen, my wife and colleague and friend, and you name it. And do appreciate you being back. We were talking earlier on. It's been a while since you've been on.
Yeah.
Actually, it was probably...
it was probably last year.
It was probably last year, about a year ago. So Grace Haven Ministry, and for the viewers and listeners that may not know what Grace Haven is, let's start with just what's that program about, and tell them a little bit about that ministry, and we'll get caught up then.
Well, the ministry, Grace Haven Ministries, focuses mainly on women who have addictions. They're coming out of the jails or rehabs that don't have a safe place or need a little extra structure. And so we have a couple homes now, and they come to us, and we try to help wherever we can.
And so there's now 2 homes, and the other one opened up...
in June.
June, okay.
June 1st, yes.
And that was kind of a pretty... spectacular thing
Yeah, it really
from
was.
God, actually,
Yes.
because tell them a little bit about the original Grace Haven, how that home, and then how you ended up getting another home.
Okay, well, it all started really with the jail ministry, which we still do on Thursdays, and then we decided that, the girls didn't want to leave the jail because they didn't have anywhere safe to go, and they didn't want to go back to what they were doing, so we decided we needed a home, and it started out in town, and as a rental, we rented. And then one day we decided this rental just had a bath and a half, and with 4 women and a house mom, 5, that was not enough bathrooms. So we were able to find a home over in another area that had 2 bathrooms, so that was mainly our thing. We got the home, and it needed renovated, and so the whole time when we moved into that home, the house next door was empty, and I personally had been praying about that house for a while because I knew we had lots of girls on the waiting list and lots of people that needed help, more than the 4 that we could house. And so through the next year or so, I was praying, and I even asked the board members to come over and pray on the porch about it, and nobody prayed but me. And then I mentioned it to you, and you, of course, said, "Oh no, it's too much."
Right.
And it was too much. It's a big job, but God had different plans, and eventually the house came up for sale, and you changed your mind. And I know when we went to see it, you said, "Well, I'll know this is really what the Lord wants if the realtor's a Christian." Yeah. And first thing we said when we got on the porch, she said, "I'm a Christian." So that was confirmation. And then the board looked at the house, and we saw 2 rat traps on the floor, and it was in just terrible shape. Horrible. And as the board members looked through, we all gathered in the living room, and I said, well, what do you think? And they all said, it's perfect. So, and God provided the money for that house. And
So primarily it's fixed up by volunteers, a lot of
Right.
things donated.
oh, goodness, yes. Beautiful hardwood floors donated, and appliances, and there was about 5 or 6 men that came every Saturday from
Right.
January to June and worked and took, that on themselves to do that, all donated. So
So there's 2 homes next door to each other.
Right.
And I guess what is the advantage, or why is it important to have homes like in close proximity to each other? Why is that helpful to the ministry?
well, it's helpful to the ministry because we have all of our meetings at the larger house. And,
Okay, so the girls
Sarah's
from
house,
one home goes to the other.
The newer house is called Sarah's House of Hope. The old house is called Grace Haven Place. And Sarah's House of Hope is twice as big.
Okay.
So before we would all scrunch into this little room to do our Bible studies and classes and things. And now we have a nice sized living room. And plus it's handy for me.
Right.
That because I have to go over there quite often, and we have, volunteers that we can have one volunteer there, and they can serve both homes. So it's just amazing. It's wonderful.
And so tell us a typical day for one of the girls that's going. Now there's 2 homes. There's Grace Haven, and then there's Sarah's House of Hope. And before I get to that, how did you come up with the names of each one of the homes? I think that's interesting in and of itself.
Well, yeah, that's a story in itself. Grace Haven, it was the name of a high school that our daughter attended.
Okay.
And, there was a lot of grace at that place, and it made a big difference in our lives, and so that was a meaningful name.
Okay.
Of course, now they've changed it, but and then Sarah's house. Pam Renko who is your administrative assistant, and has been a close friend of mine for years. Had 2 daughters, and one daughter died of an overdose. When was that?
Probably a couple years ago.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
And the second daughter, her name is Sarah, had a little boy and was doing very well in her life, and was driving along, and a young woman who was under the influence of alcohol and drugs hit her and killed her. And so Sarah had done a lot to help with Grace Haven at the beginning, had done a lot of the typing and things like that, and we were all just so heartbroken about Sarah that we wanted to help others, so that
Right.
maybe we could touch somebody so they wouldn't be drinking and driving, so that they were on a different path in their life, and so we dedicated it to Sarah.
So the first Grace Haven, that is what goes back how many years now?
5.
5 years, and then the other home's just been open since June.
Since June.
So wow, not all that long.
No.
How many girls have gone through the Grace Haven and Sarah's house now?
We've had about 79.
79, so about
Women.
almost 80 women have gone through
Right.
this ministry. Tell me about a typical day for one of the girls, if there is a typical day. What are some of the things they do at the house? What are some of the activities or things they're involved in?
Right. Well, many of the girls are involved not only at the house but also in the courts,
Okay.
and so they have requirements for the court too. But well, I'll just say today we had a class, a biblical counseling class at Grace Haven, and then 2 of the girls had job interviews, so they went to that. After that, one of them had counseling, and then a couple of them had doctor's appointments. Then they go to the noon either AA meeting or they'll go look for jobs if they don't have jobs. There's responsibilities at the home for them to do, and so they're busy. They're very busy and productive. So.
And I know it's really rewarding to you and all the volunteers, right?
Yeah, it's rewarding. It's not one of those ministries where you're always going to feel good and gushy, though, because it's like
It's tough.
It's a
Yeah.
frontline ministry, and it's life and death. And these girls come to us, and they really sometimes are at the edge, of life.
Yeah, and Loretta, you mentioned life and death. Certainly, when we look at the overdose deaths in Fairfield County, it is pretty staggering, and the number of drug-related houses where they do search warrants. I met a former Fairfield County deputy. I talked to him at the Family Y just yesterday, and he has been retired for probably 14, 15 years now, and he said that when he was with the Sheriff's Department, or Sheriff's Office 15 years ago, he said if they had 2 search warrants on meth labs in a year, it was a bad year.
Oh,
2
really?
a year.
Wow.
Now, to give you a little idea, I just had a meeting with our scrap team, and they had 2 yesterday.
Right.
And they have had tons already as we get into 2013. We're just a few days into that already. So when I told him a little bit about where we were now, he was absolutely floored that could be the case.
Right. And sometimes, because the girls use drugs, they have done criminal acts, a lot of
Right.
them. But a lot of times, I met for lunch a young lady yesterday, and she has been drug-free for 3 years. But she started the drugs because she'd had a difficult pregnancy.
Oh,
and
my.
she was on pain pills. And then all of a sudden she decides she's not on pain anymore and she's using the pills.
Right.
And it's like a shock to her that she is using more and more every day, and the doctor won't give them to her anymore. Well, then she's going on the street and buying the pills. Well, $50 a pill, she can't afford the pills anymore. So she starts doing heroin. And all of a sudden, she said, my life has spiraled down like this, and I don't know what to do. And so, sometimes we think, oh, drug addicts, whatever, but that is not the case.
Right.
They get into this sometimes unknowingly and
Quite innocently.
Quite innocently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're coming a little bit close on time.
Okay.
We're going to have you back next week to talk about some great other things coming up at Grace Haven, and maybe some stories that stick out over the last 4 or 5 years. But before we go off the air, tell us a little bit about, and we'll be talking more about this next week, about a fundraiser that Grace Haven is going to be having here in the next few weeks.
Yes, because Grace Haven is a nonprofit, and we mostly run with just private donations, and churches and individuals and whoever God leads. We do get some community support, but we do have a yearly fundraiser, and it's coming up February 23rd. And this year we rotate churches, and this year it's at Fairfield Christian.
Okay.
So it's 6 to 8, and it is a chili cook-off, and we need people to enter chili, and we're going to have prizes, and it's always a lot of fun. So
tell them how if they're interested in tickets, if they want to be part of the chili contest, if they want to just be part of Grace Haven. Your phone number, and how do they get in touch with you?
Right. You can always visit our website. It's www.gracehavenfairfield.com. Also, I put my public number is 740-808-6255. 740-808-6255.
Special guest this week is Loretta Phalen. Do appreciate you being with us. If I forgot that one, we'll get in trouble. And we are going to have you back next week to talk more about Grace Haven. If you can join us, we would very much appreciate it. Again, do appreciate the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy that put this program together each and every week, produce it behind the scenes. We could not do it without their help. They charge nothing to put this program together, and it's broadcast throughout Fairfield County and beyond. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners. Certainly, if you have any questions, feel free to call me at the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Always like to get a lot of calls from our citizens. Well, the clock on the wall says we've got to go. Until next week, same time, same place. God bless. Buckle up if you're out there driving, and we'll see you right here next week.
So, you're looking for help with your mortgage. worried about foreclosure?
We can help you keep your house. All we ask for in return is that you submit to our plans for galactic domination. Sign.
If you're facing foreclosure, talk to the right people. Speak with HUD-approved housing counselors free of charge at 888-995-HOPE.